Greetings, fellow Slayers. Well, time to take another look at an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 1, and today we're going to be looking at The Pack. The students of Sunnydale High are on a field trip, this time to the Sunnydale Zoo. Buffy is confronted by a group of bullies that pick on her because she was kicked out of her old school and her violent tendencies that started it. The group then targets another student, Lance, likening a visit to the zoo as a family reunion to him. When Principal Flutie interrupts, Lance doesn't denounce them, so they decide to include him in their exploration of the off-limits hyena exhibit. Buffy is met with Xander and Willow, who express their enjoyment at the zoo, while Buffy doesn't find it so as it was done at her old school. Xander reminds her that going to the zoo is not only fun for seeing animals, but for missing school. Buffy then changes her mind. Upon seeing the bullies enter the exhibit with Lance, Buffy tries to intervene to make sure that everything is okay, but Xander offers to do it himself, as it is a non-Slayer related problem. Just as Xander enters, Buffy and Willow realize Xander will not be able to deal with it and try to follow, but they are stopped by the zookeeper, Dr. Weirick, who tells them the hyenas are in quarantine. He also tells them that according to ancient myths, hyenas will call people's names in order to fool and then devour them. Ugh. At the exhibit, the male half of the bully gang try to throw Lance into the pit where the vicious hyena is. Xander comes just in time and saves Lance. They are standing on a tribal hyena symbol, save for Lance. The group turns to him, laughing as Lance flees. The next day at the Bronze, Willow is eagerly waiting for Xander. Buffy acknowledges Willow's strong infatuation with Xander, while Willow then brings up Buffy's interest in Angel, and she is currently wearing his leather jacket. Buffy admits to finding him very attractive, but says she couldn't start a relationship with someone who's nearly never there and whose main interest is fighting vampires. Willow then announces someone has just arrived. Buffy looks in hope that it's Angel, but turns out to just be Xander. Xander's acting strangely and takes some of Buffy's food without asking, growing very hungry and is not impressed with Buffy's croissant. He also takes notice that Buffy has bathed, to which she replies that she regularly does. They see the bullies from the zoo making fun of someone a table away, and Xander laughs at their cruel joke. At Sunnydale High, Giles trains Buffy and excuses her as he needs the feelings to return to his arms. Principal Flutie chases a small pig that is running through the school halls, causing chaos until Buffy picks it up. Principal Flutie then introduces him as Herbert the Pig, the new school mascot for the Sunnydale Razorbacks. Flutie starts to reach for Herbert to take him and then pulls back suddenly, obviously timid, then indicates Buffy to follow him instead. At the quad, Willow is tutoring Xander in geometry, and Xander grabs text by Willow's hands and throws it away. When Willow tries to talk to him about it, he gets up and throws her notebook into her lap, saying he'll never get it and he doesn't care. Willow tells him they'll finish another time, but Xander storms off. As Flutie talks to Buffy about the students liking school spirit, Buffy returns Herbert to his cage. Xander walks past and Herbert suddenly starts squealing. Buffy watches him walk away, confused about Herbert's reaction to Xander. Buffy's class is at the gym. Coach Harold announces that, because it's raining, all regular gym classes have been postponed, meaning that they have to play dodgeball. Buffy and Willow plays on the same team while Xander is in the opposition along with the bullies. During the game, Xander and the bullies beat everyone on Buffy's team, including Willow, which Xander does harshly. Buffy's the only one left, so instead of targeting her, Xander and the bullies throw their balls at Lance, who is on their team, and Buffy goes over and helps him up. Willow confronts Xander about his recent behavior. Xander says it's because he's changed and so have his feelings for Willow. As Willow looks excited, Xander really claims he'll drop geometry so he'll no longer need her tutoring, thus not having to look at her. Xander and the bullies behind him laugh as Willow becomes upset. Buffy approaches Xander, asking if he has something to say to her, the girl he is attracted to. Xander just laughs even louder at them and leaves. Xander and the bullies are hungry. They take the hot dogs from other students. Still hungry, they enter the faculty room where Herbert is in his cage. They close the blinds, and Xander announces, "Let's do lunch." Ugh. Willow cries about what Xander has said. Buffy says something is wrong with Xander, but Willow thinks something is wrong with herself, telling Buffy that Xander is not as rude to Buffy as he is to her. His attitude and actions towards Buffy have mostly changed just sniffing her. Buffy deduces something is weird and decides to consult the expert on weird. Buffy tells Giles of Xander's change of behavior, clothing, treatment to others, and his new friends. Giles, however, brushes off his normal teenage male behavior caused by testosterone, saying he's likely to prey on the weak. This phrase takes Buffy back to her conversation with the zookeeper, so she believes this change is the result of their trip to the zoo. Giles still doesn't believe her claim of it being supernatural, which will make him look stuff up. This changes when Will arrives and tells them that the pack has eaten Herbert, prompting Giles to finally look stuff up. Principal Flutie confronts the other bullies and orders them to his office. At the library, Giles believes this is the work of the Primals, an African sect that worshipped animals so much they believed they could reach a sacred state by placing the spirits of animals into them. When Buffy goes to the faculty room where Herbert was, Xander finds her there. Buffy jumps Xander, but he rolls her over and ends the one on top, and he just makes remarks about how Buffy likes dangerous smelling Angel, giving him more motivation to act violently. Buffy tries to tell him what happened, but he ignores her. She pushes him off, but holds her back onto a vending machine. Meanwhile, the other bullies are called to Flutie's office. They corner the principal and devour him alive. Ugh. Buffy knocks Xander out with the desk and drags him back to the library, where he is locked into the book cage. Giles returns from a teacher's meeting and tells him about Flutie, also stating that the official theory is that wild dogs got into his office. Buffy and Giles go to the zookeeper to get information on transpossession, while leaving Willow to look after Xander. Xander wakes and tries to talk his way out of the cage. As Willow comes closer, he makes a grab at her through the book slot but misses, losing any chance of getting her trust again. The zookeeper tells Giles and Buffy he ordered the hyenas some time ago, and from one day there was something odd about them. He found out that they were a vicious breed worshipped by the Primals. He has to know how on transpossessing them, so Buffy needs to get all the possessed students to the exhibit. They then realize that the other students will seek Xander, endangering Willow. Indeed, the pack calls out Willow before breaking into the library. They manage to free Xander but are fended off by Buffy. Outside, the pack attacks the family of 3, but Buffy arrives and gets their attention, making them chase her back to the zoo. At the exhibit, Giles meets the zookeeper, who is wearing the tribal garb. He realizes the zookeeper who wanted the hyena spirits drawn into him all along in the possession of the students was just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The zookeeper then knocks Giles out. Willow arrives and, not knowing what Giles discovered, agrees to let the zookeeper hold a knife to her neck, being the necessary predatory act. Buffy arrives with the pack on her tail. Over the symbol, the zookeeper chants and the hyena spirits are taken out of them into him. He then tries to attack Willow, but Xander saves her while the other 4 students run off. The possessed zookeeper becomes aggressive and Buffy, trying to stop him from hurting anybody, accidentally knocks him into the hyena pit, where he is devoured. The next day, Xander is shocked to have eaten a live pig, claiming to have no memory of the possession. He asks if he did anything else embarrassing, but Buffy shrugs off. As Buffy and Willow leave, Giles tells Xander that none of the research he did into animal possession mentioned memory loss. Unable to believe everything he did, Xander begs him not to tell anyone. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So anyway, let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. Buffy wears the leather jacket Angel gave her in Teacher's Pet. Adam discusses the lead guitarist of the band Wretched Refuse. In the 70s, Giles played guitar in his band Wretched. Xander tells Buffy, "You like your men dangerous and mean," referring to Angel. Buffy will question this in Beauty and the Beast, The Harsh Light of Day, and Dead Things. Principal Flutie is the 3rd member of the Sunnydale High staff to die in the series, after teacher Stephen Gregory and the She-Mantis in Teacher's Pet. Principal Flutie will be replaced by Principal Snyder, who will also be eaten alive. Buffy will mention Flutie's death in Beneath You, when she asks Robin Wood if him saying the students would eat her alive means he heard means he heard about what happened to Flutie. Xander's locked in a library cage due to his violent tendencies, as Oz will be in Beauty and the Beast and Vampire Willow in Doppelgangland. This episode marks the second time Giles is knocked out, the first being Witch, something which will become a running joke as the series continues. In A New Man, Giles will describe himself as having a tendency to get knocked on the head. Xander's vain amnesia about his activities while he possessed will be questioned in phases. In The Prom, students will shout out hyena people as one of the strange things that happened in the school, in reference to the events from this episode. When discussing what could have possessed Buffy and Who Are You, Will fears the possibility of hyena possession. In Lessons, Buffy warned Dawn to stay away from, among other dangers, hyena people. Yeah, that's probably a good thing. So anyway, let's look at the production of this episode. Despite being credited as a series regular, Chris Carpenter is absent from this episode. This is the first time that series regular has been absent. All sequences shot at the zoo were filmed at the Santa Ana Zoo. During the dodgeball game, the pack defeats the opposing team easily, leaving Buffy as the last one standing. But, instead of attacking her, they turn on Lance, their own teammate, showing hyenas will generally avoid confronting powerful animals and prey on the weak instead. So anyway, now let's take a look at some pop culture references. When Buffy is implied to be a skeptic by Giles, she references the skeptic character of Dana Scully from The X-Files. In the library, Giles consults the Malleus Maleficarum, an actual historical text on witchcraft. Kyle's line, "And therein, my friend, lies the fun," is paraphrasing the line, "And therein lies the rub," from Hamlet. Buffy refers to the winged monkeys from The Wizard of Oz. Buffy mentions keyboardist and composer Yanni. Giles uses an illustration by Gustave Doré from The Divine Comedy. Will refers to the sitcom Three's Company. And now let's take a look at some goofs that were made. The establishing shot of Sand Hill High is from the episode Teacher's Pet, with Will visible on one of the benches wearing the same clothing as in that episode. The shot will also be used in Nightmares. Xander becomes the unofficial leader of the pack, although hyena packs are matriarchal. The majority of the hyena documentary footage shown in the episode is actually about wild African dogs, not hyenas. And now finally onto some other information regarding this episode. After Witch, this is the second episode where no vampires appear. Those will happen again in episodes I, Robot Eugene, The Puppet Show, Inca Mummy Girl, Living Conditions, and Fear itself. Anthony Stewart Head and Ian Bailey would later appear in and starring Pancho Villa as himself. Nice. So overall, I think this is a very kind of middle-of-the-road filler episode, so yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it. So overall, I give The Pack 3 vampire steaks out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in tomorrow so we take a look at the episode Angel. So, until then, see you, everybody.